Hey everyone, it's Brett Hornby here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And I think the Crescent Heights High School deserved its own vlogging on the go, but I think in this video for another vlogging on the go, since I'm already in the neighborhood of Crescent Heights, let's just take a look at the neighborhood surrounding Crescent Heights. And just off of the old high school, you get this awesome view of the city. And this view definitely has changed over the years, especially, with the Bow building and the tall sky. It's blocking out the most iconic building in the Calgary skyline, with this view being the Calgary Tower. And I'm always going to say, no matter what taller buildings we build, the Calgary Tower is always going to be the most iconic building in the Calgary skyline. As you can pan around, seeing the east part of downtown, the Bow River flows through the heart of the city, and as beauty as it is, it definitely had its might back in 2013 with the floods. But you can see the Center Street Bridge, and then you can see the pedestrian bridge, Rents Island Park in Eau Claire. That's where I mentioned where I had my 10-year high school reunion. 20-year high school reunion is still TBD, even for class before me. As you can pan around towards the west, and you can see that Peace Bridge, and you could just leave it at that, what it is, and go down. That's the Current Club along Memorial Drive, and all the trees that you see along Memorial Drive represent all the soldiers that served in the First World War. And looking towards, you got 10th Street in the west with the Rocky Mountains. You can see some of those condo buildings near Kensington where I live and work. And this view is also very interesting, as you can kind of get my educational journey all in one shot, because behind the trees and the parking lot here, Human Park, there's the old high school, Crescent Heights High School, where I spent 3+ years of my educational journey to wrap up my time in the public school board. And over here, there's the old campus I call SAIT. The buildings that you see right away is the Senator Burns building, the new res, and the Biggin Tower. And eventually I'll plan to do another vlogging on the go. I'm going to always call that the old campus. And actually, you can kind of see the two flagpoles from this view way in the distance on top of Heritage Hall, which you got to wonder if it's the same architect that designed Heritage Hall that designed Crescent Heights. So you can kind of make up Crescent Heights from this view right here, where my high school is, and you can see the old campus at SAIT, where I took electrical engineering technology and graduated from there in 2006. It's been 15 years since I graduated from SAIT, and I am getting old. 20 years since high school, 15 years since college. I do turn 39 next month, so it's definitely the sign of the times. I'm approaching middle age. It's kind of exciting, scary, and all at the same time, I'll say. But just pan around this is the gold city of Calgary, where I always proudly been born and raised, and being the Calgary sports fan I am, this is just one of these iconic views you get at the city right near Crescent Heights. That it's priceless, I would say. It's definitely worth why Calgary's a beautiful city. It's not perfect. No city's perfect, but this is priceless. So there'll be some other views that I'll walk around the Crescent Heights and look back on some other landmarks that's still around and has changed since I went here in high school. So I'll see you there. Hey everyone, I'm back just north of Center Street Bridge, the corner of Center Street and Samus Road. I guess this is technically the northeast quadrant. I mean, just down here is Memorial Drive, Center Street. This is kind of the section where all the four quadrants of Calgary meet, but the reason why I decided to come here to capture some more video footage, I just figured it's the right balance of being just away from the traffic, but there's the Calgary Tower. And I don't care what anyone says, I feel that's going to be the most iconic building in the Calgary skyline. As you can see, it's surrounded by much taller buildings. I mean, when it first opened, started construction back in 1967, and it opened, June 30th, 1968, because I was there for the 40th anniversary in 2008 and the 50th anniversary in 2018. At the time when it was open, it was the tallest building in the skyline, but many of these new buildings were built in the 1980s and recently in the 2010s. I mean, you got the Bow building, which is the blue one with all the triangles, and then you got the the kind of the twin towers. It's now called the Suncor Center, but I remember growing up it was called the Petro-Canada Center. At the longest time, the taller building, that was the tallest building in the Calgary skyline, but now you got the Bow beside it. And then you got the Telus Sky, which at nighttime it lights up because of the Northern Lights show. That's the third tallest building in the Calgary sky, and Bow is second. And then you got the Brookfield Place, which is the class one that you see. But regardless, this is the view where you go. Center Street goes all the way down to 9th Street, or 9th Avenue, I meant to say. That's where the Calgary Tower is. I think it's always going to be the most iconic building in the Calgary skyline. You can say otherwise, but it's the face of the Calgary skyline, and I say the torch that we used in the 1988 Winter Olympics had that same shape, and it lights up the Calgary Tower once in a while. Like I say, it's the world's tallest torch. But the other thing that going back to the Crescent Heights High School video, that most of my time when I was going to Crescent Heights High School, the Center Street Bridge that you see right here was under construction to be rehabilitated. And one of the things that you see that I already shared some pictures, you see those lions on top of the, kind of the archways, and I had a closer picture of it when I was there earlier. But when I was walking my way back up, you could see right over here, there's another lion right there kind of overlooking the Calgary skyline. As I had a closer view and a selfie with that lion. It's a very distinguished lion, as I would say. It was mentioned as one of the first public arts that's definitely stood the test of time. I know that the new lions that they have on the Center Street Bridge, they were not the originals, because after over 100 years, it gets weathered. And I know there's a lion in front of the City Hall with some horses. I always have to say here's the Lions and Stampeders battle at City Hall with the animals, but it's just very interesting. This is public art, as much as sometimes it's controversial. I mean, we like our bridges or blue rings or whatever, but the lion is just a nice, simple, majestic animal that it kind of just shows the gateway into downtown Calgary. But I just had to take it in this view because you kind of get the best of everything with the Calgary skyline, including the Calgary Tower, and you see the Bow River and flowing, and of course there's the old Campus 8 that you can make out right here. And up the hill I got to work my way back up, but as I was walking down here just to take it all in, the other part of Crescent Heights area, that there is some retro aesthetics that still exist that pleases my eye as I'm going to walk back up on the Crescent Heights Business Village, or they call it the Crescent Heights Village now. As it's the whole area has definitely changed and revitalized up the hill, more condos, but there's some businesses and some relics I remember from the past that's still around in its original form, and I love that I still remember from high school. It's still there 20 years later. So I'll walk my way back up towards 16th Avenue and Balmoral School to close out this part of the video. So I'll see you there. Hey everyone, it's Brett Hornby back, working my way back up on Center Street near 9th Avenue, and this is not quite the block that's got me excited to stop here, but I do remember some businesses here changing. I mean, where you see the K-Town Chicken, I remember that used to be a Starbucks, and I know that moved up where the Shoppers is. This is now at Tim Hortons, a Canadian icon. You can see there's back the skyline here, but this is what really got me excited. That sign, I remember that sign for years. It says Block Tiger established 1932, all neon, all original retro, and gotta wonder if this still lights up and works here in 2021, because I remember seeing that sign over time here in high school. And going back to this block here, I mean, I remember there used to be a Blimpie there. Remember Blimpie's sandwiches? Gotta wonder if they're still in business today, but I just want to walk on the other side of the sign here on Center Street, but I just love seeing these things from the past that's still around, despite all the new businesses, new buildings around, because it kind of just represents the past, and I just like sharing that with my videos. I mean, this side of the sign definitely looks much better, much more original and retro. I guess I'll have to take a picture of that and share both sides of the sign, but you can see, more international market here. I think I also do remember that 1015 building there, just with that 1015 on there. But there's still some more businesses up here that still looks the same, still has obviously different occupants, but much of it up here, since this whole area has been redeveloped, that it's not the same. It's all been redeveloped, more condos and that. I mean, this whole area has definitely changed since 20 years since I graduated from high school, but I just love the sign. It's still here, so I need to take a picture of this side of the sign because it looks a lot better, but I wonder if that sign still lights up at night in 2021. So I'll keep working my way up on Center Street here. Well, I'm back working my way up more on Center Street near the intersection of 12th Avenue. Here's another retro aesthetic from the past that I always remember back when I was in high school, is that Lockwork sign. And I think it could kind of make it out, looks like it's actually lit up neon, or maybe it's all LED now, but here's some more retro aesthetics that's still alive on Center Street. I mean, you could see obviously the new downtown skyline and new businesses. I know around here, I'm not too sure if it's where the Papa John's is right now. As you can see, there used to be the video game trader. I know that a few blocks down there's a new Indian restaurant that's being built. Like, the whole strip mall has changed, but this has still remained. It's the other side of the sign. I also do remember the Shoppers Drug Mart, and I also remember the Starbucks used to be there. Now it's Tim Hortons. Go Canada, both for Tim Hortons and Shoppers Drug Mart. But I also remember, the TD Bank being here, the car dealership here, and that Scotia Bank. And what makes that Scotia Bank significant that I always remember is back in 2009 when I finally moved out of my parents' place. We finally had enough money to buy a place. I remember that Scotia Bank. That's where I was called to go in to sign my mortgage papers for my first place that I moved out of it in 2015 and live where I live now in Capitol Hill. So high school aside, I still have memories up here on Center Street as well in Crescent Heights. I mean, it's just the whole area is being redeveloped. You see the spillover, more of the Chinatown. As you can see, a lot of Chinese businesses and signs. But another thing that's stuck out, maybe I'll have to come back another time, is you see a lot of these seedings that have different artwork. I'm gonna have to come back another time. That's the beauty of doing these vlogging on the go, is you, especially if you revisit a place from the past, is you see different things that it's like, I gotta come back. And I think that's definitely gonna be another time to come back, but mostly I was here for the high school, but I figured all these other relics that I remember up in Center Street, Crescent Heights, that warrants another video. So I'm still working my way back up to 16th Avenue and Balmoral, where the original Crescent Heights High School is, before where it is built is now, and it's still a beauty. It's still looks the same on the outside, but up here on Center Street, it's definitely a different world now than it was 20 years ago when I was up here during my high school days. So it's kind of a mixture of nostalgia and just rediscovering Crescent Heights. But like I say, that that other neon sign and this one brings me back. And I know another thing I remember that's up here that you don't see anymore. I remember there used to be some kind of greenhouse plant place. I can't think of the term, but I remember that used to be up here as well. That's long gone. It's all just condos and that, but you could definitely tell the older buildings that you see up here, but the abode is still here. So I'll continue working my way up. So I'll see you. Well, the reason why I'm here is another thing that I always remembered going to and from Crescent Heights High School on the bus, or just walking around in this area. I'm on Center B Street and 14th Avenue Northwest. Well, now this building is called Amazing Car Dealer Shop. But I remember around here, I think it's that same building. I remember it was called the Shine Factory. And how I always remember it being the Shine Factory is it was big, white, and orange, and it said on the building that said the Shine Factory. Like, that was the whole point. It just slapped you in the face. It called the Shine Factory. I was thinking, oh, look forward to see that again, but I'm assuming it was still a car dealer detail shop. I mean, now it's called Amazing, so maybe someone who's going to Crescent Heights right now, 20 years from now, might have the idea that I'm doing, like, hey, I'll come around in the area 20 years later. Maybe they'll do the same thing and say, I remember when this was called the Amazing Car Dealer Shop, because that slapped me in the face. I'm just being hypothetical, but I just remember. But there's another thing that I'll touch upon. I'm working towards. Here's the central landmark, and then there's another patch of land over there that I'll get to, but there's a couple other landmarks here that I remember that used to be here on 16th Avenue and Center Street that are long gone. But I'll try to reflect some memories on what used to be there when I get up there. But I do remember the Shine Factory was right here. Now it's not here. It's called the Amazing Car Detail Shop. I wonder if they're amazing. I can't afford a vehicle, so I don't know, what. I remember the Shine Factory, just how it just stood out. What happened to the Shine Factory? If you know, I missed the Shine Factory, just how it looked. What happened to it? But anyway, got a couple more moments to capture before I close out walking around Crescent Heights and reminiscing from the past, back when the Shine Factory used to be here, for example. So I'll see you. Well, I'm standing what used to be, well, a place that you'd go to buy furniture, the Brick. I like to say, get at the Brick, or I think the motto is, nobody beats the brick, as I'm on the corner of Center Street and 16th Avenue, and you can see the Braithwaite Boyle building that I remember always has been there. And there's that dental office, and then there used to be a Subway there that's now closed. All this area has been relatively the same. Remember that brake check? I mean, that new condo building right near Peter's Drive-In, that's been here for the last couple of years, but I'm standing where used to be the brick building. Not too sure what the plan is to build on this land, but I remember that building was here when I was still going to high school. But looking where it's called the Central Landmark, which is where it's a Chinese mall, and then there's the Alberta coins. Let's say I still have coins. I was more into coin collecting when I was younger, but not as much now, but I still like having the coins. But I don't remember the exact name of the hotel. It was gone before I went to Crescent Heights High School, but I remember it was up there until about the mid 1990s. There used to be a hotel right here where you're looking at right now, where the Central Landmark is, and I remember it had like a tall tower with a couple of strobe lights or something. And then of course you see the clock tower where the Balmoral School is, which that is where I'm going to go to conclude this part of the video, because that's where apparently the original Crescent Heights School started. But I'll work my way there. But I'm just reminiscing on this corner, at least on the south side of 16th Avenue. There used to be a hotel. It's one of those kind of run-down hotels. I think it was a Town and Country Inn. I know there's the TNC in Forest Lawn that's also notorious for that. But I forgot, there was something in. There was something in, I remember, right where the Central Landmark is. And then I'm standing where, in the past, even I think I remember it was on the verge of closing down. I would be standing right in the middle of a showroom to maybe buy a new couch, new furniture at the Brick. Go Alberta. It's an Alberta-based company made in Edmonton, but Brick is one of another Canadian icons, at least in Western Canada. But the Brick used to be right here, and then I remember before they tore it down, it was a homeless shelter, but it's been a patch of land since then, and I'm surprised no one has decided to build something here, another, mixed-use apartment or condo. I'm sure maybe eventually there'll be one right here, or who knows, maybe the Brick will come back here, I don't know. But that's all I have reminisce on this corner of 16th Avenue and Center Street at this edge of Crescent Heights. So I'm going to work my way over to Balmoral to close out the Crescent Heights neighborhood part. But yeah, this part of the city, definitely a lot of it has changed. It's definitely not the same since I was coming to high school here regularly, but some parts still remain the same. That still gets me excited. I already shared, but it's definitely not the same place, and you could debate, is it the same, good, different? I mean, it's just everything evolves. It's definitely a different city, but it's just a nice variety of businesses I see now that, it tells you sign of a generation, sign of times. But I'll make my way to Balmoral right now, so I'll see you over there. Well, here I am at the Balmoral School. Just behind me, 16th Avenue and 2nd Street, northwest between Center Street. But here's the site of the original Crescent Heights High School, and I'll just walk up, and there's a reason that they indicate that the clock tower is actually not active and painted. And but yeah, this is the school I've always seen on 16th Avenue. But as I've been getting ready for this vlog and read a little about the history of Crescent Heights High School, this was the original site of it before the school that was built in the other video. But this is kind of closing out the neighborhood part of my vlog, but I'm just gonna walk towards the steps, and there's some more plaques that indicate some more Calgary history. But as you can see, it's these sandstone buildings, and a lot of these older schools kind of looks the same. I know I've been inside some of them, and when I'm thinking about it, I kind of like that. style of school and architecture. Just, you know, going back to things you just don't see anymore. But yeah, you could see Balmoral School, AD 1913, when they started. Definitely tell these steps are very, very vintage as well. It just feels weird walking up these steps. But this definitely screams. Oh, you can see more lions and the wild rose. But I just love to just look at this building on the outside. But let's bring up the plaques that's right here on the front of the school. As you can see, some history here. There's a bug flying by, but the 100th centennial celebrations for your Balmoral School, because you said 1913, were canceled on June 21st, 2013. There was this problem called the flood. As I mentioned here, that's when the floods happened at that time. So as I mentioned, the two centennial projects, the 4 clock faces and the elm tree, were dedicated to the September 13th, 2013. You can see these elm trees right here. The hands point at 4:05 just as they did in 1913. So that's why you see the clock at 4:05, and then the tree replaces the elm tree that died in 2007. A time capsule was locked in the clock tower to be opened in 2063. So I guess I'll be 81 years old if I'm still around in 2063, or if I'm still in the Calgary area. But there's some interesting history right there. But here's this plaque right here, talk about the Balmoral School. Designed by architects Hugh McClellan and William Brenton, Balmoral School was constructed in 1914 and the final of the most costly of 19 sandstone schools built in the Calgary Public School Board after 1892. During World War I, restrictions, the clock towers was never purchased. For a brief period around 1917, a clock facing the hands pointing at 4 o'clock was pointed on the tower. William Neighbourhood later served as the first social credit premier, served as principal. So he also served principal here and at Crescent Heights. This says 1915 to 1928, before the Crescent Heights building that we know today. During his tenure, the school offered elementary classes and provided temporary quarters for Crescent Heights High School. So there it is, see? Going back to, this is the original Crescent Heights High School. In 1937, Balmoral Elementary expanded to include junior high grades. Following the 1984 closure of the elementary grades, the school continues to serve as Balmoral Junior High. So you can see some history here, that this is where Crescent Heights has now been around for over 100 years in its existence, but the building itself will be 1928, the original building. So maybe there'll be another centennial to celebrate that, but just find that interesting. And you know, that's why I just love doing this vlogging on the go. I mean, yes, I'm mostly a Calgary sports fan and go out or talk Calgary sports in my apartment, but I have to get out once in a while and see the city that I live and work, and love the city that I live in. But you know, this is definitely a nice way to preserve the history if it's going to change. But you can see, can I imagine this school right here, you know, opened in 1915. Just think, I gotta keep throwing the Back to the Future reference in. If I were to get a DeLorean and bring it up to 88 miles per hour, over 130 kilometers per hour, just to come back in time when this school was newly minted. Just gotta wonder what this whole area was like. I mean, you don't see all this around here, and then you could see the Calgary skyline. That just fascinates me in general. I mean, going back to all my corral demolition videos, when that arena was built in the 1950, how much it's seen. Well, these schools, I mean, these schools have seen a lot over the 100 years, and all the different kind of students and teachers over the years. And then the fact that this school, as I looked into it a lot more, didn't realize that this school right here ties into my high school on its earlier days. So yeah, it's very, very interesting. And yeah, you can see There's the clock tower at 4:05. Gee, clock tower stuck in time. Going back to another Back to the Future reference, and the joke was to try to raise money to fix the clock tower, but this one has a different significance. I just gotta wonder what's in that time capsule. If they plan to open it in 2063, I guess I'll find out if I'm still around when I'm 81 years old, or if I still care, if I'm still making content. Or that's the other beauty of doing this as well on YouTube, is the plan is to just digitally preserve it and have it there forever, that maybe this video will still be here. But yeah, I just find it very interesting, you know, to cap off. I did my Crescent Heights High School, just the high school itself, but I figured I'll do one for the community, and this is a nice way to close it off. That Crescent Heights High School history began here, but still continues where the high school is now as a separate identity. So anyway, as I'll close out, I'd like to say, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fan's journey, home of the Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders, I mostly do Calgary sports on my YouTube channel, talking about games and recap stories, and I also do a variety of non-sports content like personal vlogs, where I talk about whatever's on my mind. Attempt to comedy is what it is. I try to be funny, and I do share my experiences. Let's say I'm on the road or a sport event, but this is the one thing I've been starting to enjoy doing a lot more. Just do some vlogging on the go. Just decide to go to a different part of the city and just reminisce and share stories from the past, and just share the history and the significance of everything, both, you know, personally and city-wise, and definitely touched upon, you know, the floods, the World War, and, you know, share what the city looks like now and how much it's changed from when I was going to high school. But that's all the content that I make on my YouTube channel. So if that sounds like it'd be interesting to watch, to follow along with this Calgary sports fan's journey, you know what you should do. Just make sure you hit like and subscribe, and I also have all my other social media links down in the description below, as some of my favorite shots that I captured with my vlogging on the go, for example, will be on my Instagram, but all the pictures I take, I'll shove it in the video somewhere. So I just want to say thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed, you know, my, I guess for the Crescent Heights video for the high school, enjoy my physical 20-year reunion, as I literally went to the high school and just looked around the Crescent Heights neighborhood. There's some elements that are still there when I was going to high school, but a lot of it has changed, and I just found it interesting that this school right here had a connection to my high school, that indirectly. And so I say thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.